Hey, I really want to talk to you. So, I was always that kid who was silent. Not that kid who was sitting in the first bench of class. Not that kid who didn't engage with family. Not that kid who didn't have any friends. Not that kid who never had relationships. Not that kid. I was the kid who would hang out with the coolest friends. I was the kid who would have all the luxuries of the world. I was the kid who have the most supportive parents. I was the kid who would sit in the backbench of the class. I was that kid. But being that kid, I was always the silent one. I was always the one who would speak the least. I was always the one who was afraid to step out. I was always the one who was afraid to speak their heart out. And now, growing up, as I dive more and more into my own self, I now understand why was I that kid. It wasn't because I didn't have opportunities to speak. It wasn't because I didn't have people to confide in. It was because I was not courageous enough. It was because nobody gave me that courage upfront. Nobody told me, hey, you can tell me your stuff. Since I was listener from the beginning, since I was a silent observer, everybody would come to me, my friends and my siblings and even adults. They would come to me and confide in me. They would share their thoughts. They would tell me things that they wanted to tell me. And slowly and steadily, I started giving them my advice, and that worked because I trained myself to see things from a two-point perspective. I trained myself to also put myself into the shoes of the person who was not able to put across their thoughts to me, about whom this person who was talking to me was sort of complaining, was not happy with. I was trying to think that what would that person tell me if he or she was present as well. So I was judging from a neutral point of view and being as unbiased as possible, and I guess that worked. And still today my friends come to me. Still today I form connections with so many people and I form a trust. But at that point of time, there was no one who did the same for me. There was no one who came up front and told me that, hey, tell me why you're so silent. Do you have anything you want to share? Do you want to tell me anything? Are you struggling with anything? Nobody did that to me. So I was left on my own. I had so many thoughts. Growing up, teenagers have a lot of internal issues, and I believe everyone right now knows what I'm talking about. They are in the phase of discovering themselves, and at that point of time they need the most guidance possible. But I think people are not trained to guide the teenagers in the way that they should be guided, in the way that I wanted to be guided. So I guided myself. When I was growing up, the internet was just coming into form, and so it wasn't as active as it is today. But yeah, I had my fair share. I did my research as much as I could, and I just guided myself. Of course, there were a lot of wrong moves that I made. Of course, I was prone to a lot of peer pressure. Of course, I did things that I shouldn't have done. But then again, I was a kid who didn't have any support. I was a kid who didn't have the proper guidance. I was the kid who was the listener, but to whom nobody listened. So today, as I sit here, I'm not complaining. I'm not speaking from any regret, but where I am speaking from is a little of loneliness and sadness. From where I come from, it's a very deep agony inside me that I feel. Sometimes I wish I had someone to confide in. Sometimes I wish that someone would actually walk up to me and ask me whether I want to talk about something or not, but nobody did. And I know this is the case for so many people. Introverts have a tendency to, be in themselves, but there's a reason for that. The only reason is that nobody asks them anything. Nobody actually listens to them. So I want to listen to you. I want to be that listener to you. I want to be that person who you can confide in. And I promise I will not judge. I promise I will not ask you to do something which you're not comfortable to do. I promise I will not give advice if you're not up to listen to it. But I want you to talk. So many people all across the world are suffering from depression. So many kids all across the world are committing suicide because they don't have the proper guidance. They don't have that ear who would listen to them. And I want to be that ear for you because I feel, I swear, it comes from every cell in my body that I understand what you're going through. I understand what you might be facing. And even though I don't know the exact situation you're in, I understand that agony which comes from loneliness, and I am not ready to sit here and let you suffer in pain. I am not ready to sit here and be a hypocrite and just tell you stuff, this, that. I am here for you to come to me and talk. I am here to lend you that support which I didn't have. Even though I had a lot of support, still I didn't have support. I am here to hear your unheard voice. Please use me. Please come and talk to me. Please do not make any wrong decisions. Please don't draw judgments. Please don't jump to conclusions before you confide in someone, before you try again. It makes me so sad when I open the newspaper, when I have stopped watching news because I see so many children, I see so many teenagers not able to confide in people. I see so many people just thinking and declaring that death is easier than actually speaking up. And they come from that pain, and I feel that pain, and it would make me like my purpose would be zero if I can't help those people out. So I sit here and I actually speak from the heart when I say this, that I really want to help you. I really want to be that person who listens to you, because I understand that many a times our comfort is the reason of our discomfort. We are comfortable with your family, we are comfortable with our friends and our partners, but at times we can't really talk to them because we are so comfortable with them that we feel that if we put across our vulnerabilities, what's going to happen? Are they going to understand? Because that's a untouched spot. So we have such doubts in our head which draws us back from actually saying things out loud. I don't agree on that, but again, it's one's judgment. So it's okay if you're unable to speak to your mom and dad regarding something. It's okay if you're unable to tell your partner regarding something. It's okay if you feel that your friend will judge you. I will not. Trust me. And before you make that decision of doing something which you think is correct, before you make that decision of stepping out of your home, before you make that decision that you're alone in this world, before you make that decision of just giving up on life, please consider that people like me are there. People like me do exist, and you do have a friend. Even if we are oceans apart, even if we live in different time zones, even if we live miles apart, you have a friend, you have someone who is willing to sit down like this and listen to you. That's all. All my social media handles are open. My email is open. My website is there. If you want to stay unanimous, please feel free to do so. Send me your questions. Let's talk. And please understand that if you help yourself, I can help zillions of people like you who don't even have the courage to say things on text. Please put up your phone. Tell me what you're suffering from. So when I help you, zillions like you will also be helped. Help yourself and help them. Thank you.